What's up, everyone? My name is Denzel Mensah. In case if you do not know me, I'm a life, personal development, and relationship coach, ENFJ, 9-wing-1, social sexual. And today we're going to be talking about why apologies do not always work. Let's get it. So, in our lifetime, we have probably given a lot of apologies. Hopefully. If you are, I guess, not a narcissist. But seriously, there are apologies that we have given when we have done something wrong and we are sincerely sorry for it. There are apologies that we have given when we didn't even know what we've done wrong, but we are sorry that we hurt the person's feelings. There are apologies that we have given sarcastically, like, well, I'm sorry, but you're not really sorry, you know? And so there's clearly a lot of different types of apologies and therefore a lot of different types of ways that people receive it, because there's also lots of different types of people. And today I want to start trying to address some of the different ways that people receive apologies, some of the different ways that people give apologies, and some of the best ways to actually apologize. And although this might seem elementary, and maybe we have learned this in elementary, a lot of us need to return back to that, because it's these lack of sincere apologies a lot of times that are really destroying a lot of our relationships today and destroying a lot of trust. And that is definitely a huge problem. I'm here to help. So, one of the reasons why apologies do not usually work for a lot of people is because they need to be given and received properly. Now, some people give apologies, like I said, in a very half booty type of way, you know? And then there's other types of people who give their apologies in the most sincere type of way. There's some people who give their apologies way too rapidly, and there's some people who give their apologies way too late. And for both of these situations, for example, there's reasons behind that. You know, sometimes people give their apologies so rapidly because they want to hurry and restore whatever happened. But then that might not have given the receiver time to actually believe that the person really does know what they did, what was wrong, versus somebody who takes too long to apologize. The receiver might end up thinking like, okay, like, are you actually sorry for what you did? Do you even feel like you actually did something wrong? Like, why did it take you so long to process just to realize like this is what you did wrong? So there's like a bit of like okay, you're kind of like screwed if you do too fast, and you're kind of screwed if you don't, like way too late. But there is a sweet spot for that, and that usually depends on the situation. But nonetheless, if you go on one of these extremes, then chances are you're giving the apology a little bit too soon or a little bit too late. And either way, it's not being given properly, nor will it be then received properly. Another reason why apologies sometimes do not work, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons, is because simply the person is not being genuine. Now, if you are going to be giving an apology, the most sincere thing that you can do about that is to actually show sincerity. If you're not sincerely sorry for what you've done, what are you apologizing for? And the other person might be able to tell that you're not really sincere and you don't really believe that what you did was wrong. And so then why did they now take your word for it and try to make up with you? That's kind of an issue there. So if you're over here telling an apology like, well, I'm sorry that you feel that way, that's not really an apology. Or technically it is an apology, but it's not an apology that actually has sincerity behind it. It's not genuine. And so even though you're saying the right things for an apology, sort of, you are not delivering the apology with the true intention of what an apology is supposed to serve. And even with that, I've realized that there's a difference between I'm sorry that you feel that way versus I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. Now, with the first one, you're usually pretty much saying that as in like, well, that's not my problem that you can't take the truth, or that I did this and now all of a sudden you're butthurt about it. You know, it's almost kind of a backhanded compliment, or in a way, and it's just hurting the person. It's further inflicting damage on that person. Whereas for the latter, where it's like, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way, is pretty much you taking responsibility for what you did to that person, even though you are not necessarily saying that you did that to the person intentionally. You might have not intended to make the person feel whatever way that they feel, but they still feel whatever way they feel, and you feel bad about that. And so, for that reason, you're telling the person, I'm sorry that I made you feel the way that you feel. I take ownership and I take responsibility for it, even though it wasn't my intention. And I think that that should actually have more grace to it than what it usually does give. Because, like I said, I feel like most people get upset with the former, where it's like, I'm sorry you feel that way, point blank, period. But if you're actually taking responsibility for how you made somebody else feel, despite you not having intending to make them feel that way, I think that there still should be some credit that's given there as well. And thirdly, which is probably the most important one, you need to address specifically what you did wrong. Now, in many situations, people say, I'm sorry, like I said earlier, way too soon. And then somebody might be like, okay, sorry for what? And it's like,
I don't know, I'm sorry.
well, that's not, again, really an apology. I mean, you're saying the right thing, but the intention is not really back there, you know? You have to be specific and clear. You have to have had enough communication to be able to understand, okay, wait, how did I hurt your feelings in this situation? I'm not trying to be rude. I just want to know, even though it wasn't intentional, I would still like to know like what I did to hurt you, know all the specifics, and validate the person on why they feel hurt. And then from there, apologize for it. Address the issues and clarify if you feel it the need to, or even not necessarily the need to, but if you feel it rightfully so. Because there are situations where it doesn't even really matter what the real thing is. All that matters is that the person was hurt and is hurt right now. And so they might not even want to hear the clarification. Whereas there are situations where a person would like to know, oh, that's what you really meant? Okay, well, thanks for explaining that. But even if you clarify, I advise personally to still apologize for any type of harm that you unintentionally caused. I'm sorry that I made you feel this way, or I'm sorry that maybe I didn't communicate that as clearly, or I'm sorry for the misunderstanding. Because you're still taking responsibility for what you've done, even though you might feel internally indignant, like, but I haven't done anything. You did. You hurt someone's feelings. You hurt someone in some way. You've offended them. And that's not always the easiest thing to swallow. But whether it's intentionally done or not, it still happened. And even if you may not feel like it's your responsibility, if you really do want to apologize to a person, then expressing responsibility in that sense actually helps a lot. And so that's my best advice for you in such a situation. Find out the specifics, and then once you find out the specifics, then you validate what exactly happened with them. Like, oh, wow, I didn't know that I made you feel this way when I said XYZ, or that when I did XYZ or didn't do XYZ, And then from there, you can apologize for making them feel that way. You can apologize for whatever actions or inactions that you didn't take, and just express to them your sincerity with that. And then that brings us to the next point. What are you now going to do in the future to change all of that. Because apologies are worth pretty much nothing if you're not actually trying to make a change in the future. You can't just always, sorry, because then eventually the apologies start to get really old. So you have to try to do a lot better with being able to keep in mind that, okay, from now on, I'm going to start doing this. From now on, I'm going to start doing this so that I can avoid hurting you more, so that I can actually mitigate the damage that I cause with this issue. Or I'm going to be more mindful of boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? And once you keep that in mind, then you not only have your apologies weigh even more, but you don't even have to say them as much anymore because you're making less mistakes to actually hurt the person. But apologies become more cheap if you keep on apologizing for the exact same thing. Now, I think that one thing that people have to understand, and this is funny because when you talk to children, a lot of times they really don't get it. But apologies are not some sort of magic wand that you can just wave around, and then whenever you use it, then you can fix any interpersonal conflict of some sort. Definitely not. Sometimes people are not really ready to receive your apology for whatever reason. Sometimes people haven't even been able to forgive themselves for certain things that they've done. And so because of that, then people can only meet you as far as they've met themselves. And it sometimes takes them going through a little bit more of life themselves before they're able to realize, oh shoot, I did this same thing that Tony did to me. And I still haven't forgiven Tony for it. But I just did this to David. And so, crap, okay. Now I'm starting to understand probably a little bit more of where Tony's coming from. And until I can learn to forgive myself, then no wonder I haven't been able to forgive Tony, you know. But once, people have actually been able to go through that type of situation and they're able to now empathize more with the person who has wronged them, then they're able to let go of that bitterness and they're able to actually accept the apology of another person. And this is just my personal opinion, but I really don't believe that a heart full of love, genuine, pure love, is even capable of holding on to resentment, of holding on to a grudge of some sort. I think that it doesn't make a person evil if they hold on to resentment, if they hold on to pain, if they hold on to a grudge. I think it just means that they're hurt. But I've witnessed that when you are really overflowing with love and passion and just empathy and understanding for other people, when you've experienced enough, then it actually becomes a lot easier to be able to hold space for other people's mistakes and their wrongdoings against you, because you now freely let go of the wrongdoings that you even do to yourself. You are now having a better relationship with yourself. You're able to forgive yourself a lot easier. And from being able to forgive yourself a lot easier, you're also able to extend that mercy, that empathy, that understanding, and that forgiveness to other people. Because once again, you've met yourself super far, and so now you've been able to meet other people super far. And you're able to extend that deep well of love toward other people, toward mankind. But if you don't have a heart that's really reached that level where it's just engorged with the purest kind of love, then sometimes it might be a little bit harder for you, especially if you haven't gone through enough experiences to be able to really grasp that idea. And then it might be a lot easier for you to hold on to bitterness and pain and resentment against other people. And again, that doesn't make you a bad person, just so you know. But I do believe that it's something that could be weighing down heavily on you. And if you take the time to really just let go of that, give it to God, or go through meditation of some sort and really allowing yourself to explore why it is that you have to latch onto it and what is that even serving for you. If you really dig into that, then I feel like eventually you'll be able to see there's no need for it there. And if there's no need for it, then there's no reason for it to be harboring space in your heart. They always said that a grudge is pretty much like drinking poison and then hoping that the other person dies from it. It's only hurting yourself. They also say that a grudge is allowing someone to live rent-free in your head. I like the former quote a lot better, but they both still really count. You don't want to be that type of person that's just always holding a grudge toward people. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't forget what they've done to you. If you have somebody who's just constantly, sorry, and it's like, okay, it would be wise and smart to avoid that person, But you're not holding a grudge against them. You're just kind of acting smart, You don't have to be friends with a person who, has done you wrong. You can still continue to be careful. But it is still advised, at least, that you try to empathize, hold space, and extend mercy and love toward them so that even if you're no longer going to be on as great of terms, or if it's going to take some time to restore that, because you might need some time to heal, because you are still human, you still hurt, but you're just not going to hold on to that bitterness as much. You're not going to hold on to that resentment as much. And that actually allows you to heal faster. When you let that go, then that's kind of like letting that infected wound become clean so that you now will no longer even have a scar. And without the scar, you kind of don't even really remember what wounded you to begin with. And in some cases, that's a good thing. But also in some cases, maybe you do want to just have a little bit of time to sit with that and allow a scar to form of some sort. I guess it always depends. But at the end of the day, use more discretion, use more nuance and understanding and wisdom with how you're going to go about that. So all of that being said, what are your thoughts? What are some of the experiences that you've had where you've tried to apologize to someone and maybe through watching this video, you've realized like, oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't give the best apology to that person after all. No wonder they shut me out of their life. Or maybe you did give a great apology, but they still weren't ready until later. They're probably still recovering. Maybe they just weren't able to ever forgive you because they're probably also still dealing with something within themselves too. Share it in the comments below if you feel that you would like to talk about it, communicate about it. Let me know what you guys think. And if you would like coaching, if you would like relationship coaching, be it bettering your relationship with yourself, identifying which personality type that you are, make sure to visit denzelmensah.com where you'll find all of my booking information. And also, don't forget, you matter. Thank you for taking the time to watch that video. And if you enjoyed that, please like and subscribe. It actually really helps out my channel a lot so that more people who actually care about what I want to say can actually find me a lot more easier. Also, if you did enjoy it, then maybe you'll enjoy a lot of my other content as well. So be sure to check out some of my playlists where you'll be able to find a lot of my older videos and older content. And last but not least, if you would like any profiling sessions or coaching sessions, be sure to check out denzelmensah.com where you'll be able to book me and you'll see the rest of my services. But thanks again and have a great day.